With me here, I have a sample data. It's a data that has items, it has prices, and categories. How do I make this data a table, or what makes this data look like a table? One, the first thing that one must always do when they're going to create a table is to clean up the data. What is cleaning? Cleaning basically means you remove everything you don't want from your data. You look for blank spaces. You look for things that look weird, and you rectify all of those. So I'll merge that small heading there. I will try to expand this that column a bit. I will try to do some little bit of cleaning. So what I am looking at currently is my data. That is how it looks like. Uh, how do I make this into a table? First, I select all of the data that I am working with, all the data that I want to make a table. Then I go to insert. Under insert, there is this option of table. So I select table. Let me make sure that today people can see the pop-up buttons. So this is where let me first cancel this again. So I'll select this again. I will first of all select my data. After I've selected my data, I will go to insert, then table. When I select table, I get a small menu here. I get a small dialog box that sort of asks me a lot. All that I will check in this dialog box is maybe this. They'll ask me where is my data. I already selected the data, and that is the data. So do I want my table to have headers? Yes, I'll check this. I want my table to have headers, and I'll say okay. The moment I do that, I get something that looks fancy. I get something that is a bit more complicated than what I had earlier. So this is what a normal Excel table will look like. There are very many other kinds of Excel tables, but then a more basic Excel table will look like that. So why should we use tables in Excel? For features like automatic formatting, easy sorting and filtering, easy expanding when we add new data, and all of that. So what are some of the different kinds of tables in Excel? Some of the tables that we can find in Excel, we have what we call structured tables, other known Excel tables. They are the common tables that you'll find people working with. We have what we call pivot tables. Most people confuse pivot tables with structured tables, but pivot tables are mainly used to summarize data. With structured tables, I will put all my data in that table and try to work on it in that table. With a pivot table, this will be a smaller table that is a summary of the big table. We shall see it. Then we have what we call data tables. Data tables are used in what they call our TIF analysis. This is prediction. What if this happens in my business? What will happen? So we use data tables. And Excel has features that help you to predict what might happen to your business. Maybe I didn't create any what if tables, but then an example of what if table, you might say, what if I sell my rice at 3,000? What kind of profit will I make? So you come here and enter the what if or the assumed money, and then the other functions you put maybe somewhere tell you what profits you'll be making, and so on and so forth. We have simple ranges or tables. Simple ranges, those are the normal ranges that you work with in tables. So a structured table. What is a structured table? As we've said, a structured table is what we've just seen here. I'll show us again how to create a structured table. So this is my sample data. When I want to create a structured table, I just select the sample data. Then I go to insert. Then I will click table. I'll check this. My table must have headers. Then okay, and that automatically gives me an Excel table, a structured table. And some of the things that we can do with structured tables, we say we can automatically format and ban rows. Formatting, we can automatically format them. So the moment I create this table, there is this small thing that pops up here. This one allows me to sort of do a lot of formatting on my table. For example, when I click on it, you can see it gives me all of these options. There is this word formatting. Formatting means changing how it looks like. For example, when I select some of these options, I think you can see what happens with my tables in the background. All this is conditional formatting. They're all different forms of formatting. So a table, unlike normal data, with normal data, you have to sort of look for the buttons up here that allow you to do conditional formatting, that allow you to do this. But then the moment I create my table, it automatically gives me that feature to format it right away. Maybe I want to do a conditional formatting. I will just come and say, maybe I want to do a conditional formatting whereby every item whose price is greater than 10,000 should be colored red. So I'll just come formatting greater than, and then a greater than, I'll say greater than 10,000. Oh, sorry. Let me make this a table again. So I'll come to insert table. Okay. I'll click on this small thing. It will give me this small pop-up. I'll click on greater than. Then inside here, I want 10,000, greater than 10,000. If you can see what is happening in the background, it is already giving my data certain colors. So I'll say, I'll come here and choose my color. Maybe I want a red border. I can choose custom format. Custom format gives you more other options. I can say maybe yellow. And that sort of makes all my data that is greater than 10,000 yellow, and the rest that is not greater than 10,000. So tables give me the ability to automatically format. Banding rows, what do they mean by banding rows? Now, the moment I create my table, if I go some steps back, you will notice if I look at this title bar here, some of the different tools that I have are those. The moment I select this, then I say insert, then I say table, then I say okay. A new title pops up, and it also opens a new ribbon. And this ribbon is being called the table design. What can I do with the table design? As the name suggests, it allows me to sort of design my table. For example, I can decide how should my table look like. I want it to be green. I want it to be blue. I want it to be black. Maybe I want it to be orange. So table designs, you can find them in the description. Banding, when I was talking about banding means if you look at this table, it has some parts are dark blue, it looks like just gray. Then this is a dark blue. Then this is just gray. Then a dark blue. So that is what banding is, and you can come and look for a certain style that you want here. If you don't want those bands, I can just select this. So my table will still look like, it will still be a table, but without those bands. If I want a band, I can come and select any of these other options and colors. That is all still under formatting. What are some of the other benefits of working with tables? So a table allows me to have a header row with filter buttons. It allows me to have a header row with filter buttons. When we are looking at normal data, so this is how normal data looks like. When I look at normal data, if I want to filter anything in my data, I have to first of all select that data. Then we say filter button is under home, then here. Then I select that I want to filter. But with a table, so let's say this is our data here. If you look at our table, it has these small buttons. So these buttons allow us to filter automatically. The moment you create a table, it gives you a header row with filter buttons. Maybe I want to filter anything to do with food. So I'll come here and say, I don't want food on my list. Then I'll say, okay. And that will automatically hide all food items on the list. It will hide all items that belong to the food category on the list. So that is, maybe I want to filter anything. I want to do a number filter, and I want to filter anything greater than, let me say anything less than 10,000. Less than, then 10,000. Let me say less than 12,000. So So when I say less than 12,000 and say okay, so it automatically does that number filter on my work. So these tables, the moment you add a table, it gives you options to automatically filter your work a bit faster. What other thing can I do with a table? It allows me to expand my data automatically. So if I come and I look at my data, if I look at my data here, the data does not look ugly. It actually looks beautiful. But let's say I want to add an item pencil. I can add a pencil here. Then I say a pencil costs 1,000 shillings and it is stationary. Yes, I've added that data, but then there's nothing that shows that the pencil that I've added is part of my data app. But with the tables, the moment I come here and I see that I have another item called pencil, it costs 1,000. If people saw what happened there, automatically, the moment I move out of this column, let me first undo everything. So this is what we have. Our table stops on row number 8. If I come here and I say pencil and I press enter, it automatically makes this a new row for my table. It gives it that banded color. So I can add there that the price is 1,000 and this is stationary. It even auto-filled the cell that I was trying to fill in. So tables also allow us to expand data automatically when we add new data. The tables expand automatically when we add new data. Tables also allow us to easily sort, to easily filter. We've seen how we can easily filter using the filter buttons, and it gives us total row options. So in normal data, let me come to my normal data. If this is my normal data and I want to add all of this here, I have to come here. Then I write a formula that this is equal to sum, open brackets. Then I select everything that I would like to add. Then I close the brackets and say, okay, and it gives me my total. But what can I do with tables? And the moment I come here and I select everything, automatically your table. Maybe I want a total row. So when I say total row, it automatically gives me a row for totals. Currently, this one is what we are seeing here. This is a subtotal for the categories. But I can come here and say, I don't want a subtotal. I want a total of this. I want an average. I want to count numbers. I want maximum. I want that. Let's do this with our first piece of data. So this is our raw data. Let me first delete this. I will get my column for prices, Control X. Let me put it here, Control V. So my column for prices is there. So now I want the sum of all these prices. I want the summation of all these prices. I'll first of all make this a table. We select it. You go to insert, then just click on table. Check my table has headers, then okay. The moment I do that, a new heading, a new tool pops up, which is table design, and under its ribbon, we can change the style. Let me change my style to maybe orange. After I've changed it to orange, I want to mainly look at table style options. So maybe I don't want the header row. I'll come and uncheck the header row, and that automatically hides the header. Maybe I want the header, but I don't want those bands. So I'll do that, and that will remove the bands automatically. Maybe I want the bands back. I'll do that, and that will bring back the bands. Maybe I want the total row. I'll come and select total, and this automatically gives me the total. This total row has a drop down on it. When I come here, I can select. Maybe I don't want total, but I want average instead. I can select average. I can select count. I can select count numbers. If we still recall what some of these formulas and functions do, there are some of the things that we saw in the very beginning. So instead of me having to come here and I write the whole function or the whole formula for counting numbers, I can just say count, and that will do a count in this particular cell. I can just say I want the average, and that will give me the average of everything in my table. Or maybe I want the summation, or maybe you want more functions. You can even try out more functions. There are all of the different functions you can try out and you see. But personally, I want just the sum. So I'll say sum, okay, okay, and that will give me my value there. Or I can even remove the total row. Let's say you want to remove the first column. Maybe you want to bold the first column, you can come and select first column. Maybe you want to bold the last column, you can say last column. Maybe you want to, all of the different table style options that you want to do can be done here. You want banded columns. Let me first remove the banded rows. Maybe you want banded columns. So that is how banded columns will look like, whereby the first column is banded, the next one has a different color, the next one has a different color. So you can try out different style options. Maybe you even want to remove this style buttons. You can come here and check the style to remove them, and you can bring them back. So that is most of what you need to know about the structured tables. They make work simpler for us whenever we are working with them. As we've said, we can use them to automatically format. We can use them. They have filter buttons that make it simpler for us. We can use them for sorting, filtering, adding a row for totals. We can use them to expand our data automatically, and we can do a lot more with them. The other type of tables that exists in Excel is what we call the pivot tables. Is what we call the pivot tables. My assumption is that people can still hear me. So, can everybody still hear me? And are we still all together? Okay, we are still together. So I'll move on to the pivot tables. So what is a pivot table? A pivot table is a smaller table that is used to summarize a big table. A small table that is used to summarize a big table. I'll show you an example of a pivot table. So here, I have a table of 50 rows. This is a table of 50 rows. It is just a range table. It's not that I've organized it as a real Excel table. It has orders. It was the order ID, product, category, region, the region where the different items are being sold from. It has the sales, and then it has the quantity that was sold. It is 50 rows. Let's say you are somewhere and then your boss tells you, I don't want to go through all these rows, but I want you to give me a smaller table that shows how much money we made out of all the pens sold maybe in the east, the west, the north, the south. How much we got from the books that were sold all around. So that is where pivot tables come in. So how do pivot tables look like? This here is a small example of a pivot table. Let me try to make it smaller. So this here is an example of a pivot table. And when we look at this pivot table is trying to give us a summary that in the central, the books we sold was 6 in total. And the summation of the sales from those books was 5,800. In the center again, calculators that were sold was 6, and the sum of the sales was 29,000. That cooking oil and everything, and then it gives us the total of what was sold in the center, which is 79,000, and the total number of items sold in the center were 60. Then in the east, same thing. Books gives you the total money made out of books, how many books were sold, like that. So that is what they call a pivot table. A pivot table is used to summarize a bigger data. In case you don't want to look at a data that has over 1,000 columns, you can summarize it and look at it as a smaller table. So how then can we work with pivot tables? First, I'll show us how to create a pivot table. So let's say this here is our data. Let's say this here is our data. The only thing that I have to do is I'll place my cursor in my data. I'll just select maybe just one cell in that data. Again, I will come back to insert. When you look at insert earlier, we took the option of insert tables. This time round, we have two other options that we've not yet worked with. We have what they call a pivot table, then recommended pivot tables. For now, I'll just work with what they call a pivot table. When I click on this drop down, it asks me, which pivot table do you want to work with? There is an option of from table range, and then there is an option from external data source. So we want to work with that table that we already have. We don't want to work with external data. So I'll select from table range. So as we said, Excel has Rugambo. Excel has, I don't know which way I can put it, but Excel can automatically detect what we want to do. So it automatically selects all the data that I want. Something else, before I even create this pivot table, since Excel has that thing of it automatically deciding what we want to work with, it is always very important that we first clean our data. Every other time before you work on your data, make sure that you first of all clean it. Personally, I know that my data is clean, but just to prevent any of those things, I'll try to look at it and see whether it has any blank spaces. When I say looking at it, I don't mean that you go and look at it. One of the ways you can clean your data, you can select all of your data. So I will select my data. After I've selected my data, I'll come to data. When I come to data, there are options like removing duplicates. So under this data tools option, you can see something called remove duplicates. What does it mean to remove duplicates? Removing duplicates means we are removing pieces of data that are the same. Maybe my secretary was entering data and they entered this calculator here from the central, and they said from the central, 3 calculators were sold and at a price of 15,000. But this secretary of mine dozes off and they enter the same piece of data again. So that is what they call removing duplicates. So when I select this will pop up, and I want to remove duplicates from literally every column. So if there is a column whose duplicates you don't mind, you can remove that column. But I want to remove duplicates from every column, so I'll just say okay. So it is telling me I don't have any duplicates. So that is one of the steps taken in cleaning data. The other steps taken in cleaning data includes removing spaces. Removing spaces. How do you remove spaces? Let's say they the secretary had to enter money for all cells, but then they dozed off again and they didn't enter cells for maybe the calculators that were sold in the north here. What I do is I select my data again, then I come to here find and select. Find and select, there is go to special. When I select go to special, I can see all the different special things I can go to. Maybe I want to go to comments, I want to go to constants, I want to go to formulas. This is not only important when you're removing spaces, but it is also important maybe you were given a certain piece of data and they've told you you look for all cells that have formulas. So I can just come here and check, go to cells that have formulas. But currently I want to go to cells that are blank. Any blank cell, I don't want that in, because I know my secret my cells were made everywhere. So every cell must be filled. So I'll say, okay. And this one is telling me that no cells are empty. So those are some of the steps that are taken when cleaning data. You can remove um, duplicates. You can also remove spaces. What is the beauty of cleaning data before creating pivot tables? You reduce some of these errors, and you get a better summary of your data. There are more other things that can be done when cleaning data, but for now, let me just talk about those two. So how do we create a pivot table? I'll come to insert data. It would have selected a wrong table range, but my data is clean. So I'll say I want this the same sheet I am working on. So I'll say existing worksheet. If you want the pivot table on a new different worksheet, you can select new worksheet. So I'll say existing. Then I'll come here and select the location. I want it to be here. I want it to be besides my table, so I'll select that. I'll hit that and go back. Then I'll say, okay. Now we are creating a pivot table, but when you look at this, you realize this is all they are giving me. And this does not look like a table, but it is telling me to build a report, choose fields. To build a report, choose fields. So there are some tasks that I put here. I wanted to follow them, but let me not follow them. Let me, people will follow them as they're trying out there. So how do I choose fields? When we look at this, the moment we said insert pivot table, this drop down popped up, this menu popped up this side, pivot table fields. Now what am I more interested in? I'm interested in my rows and my columns. Again, Excel is wise. I can just come and say, maybe I want a pivot table that summarizes the product. It summarizes a product and it's the prices. Maybe that is what I want. So I just select that and Excel will choose. Should I put this in a product under rows or what? So my product is a row and my sum of cells is a column. So when I look at this pivot table, it's here. It is a summary of all bags it is a summary of all the different products and their total prices. So if I was to go through all of my data and try to add how much I made from all the bags sold in a different places, that will take me a lot of time, because now if I look at this row here, it is row number 6. There is a bag, 2 bags were sold at 20,000. Then as I move on, row number 16, again 3 bags sold at 22,000. Then row number 26, I have 2 bags sold at 21,000. Then row number, I don't know, 36, I have 3 bags sold at 26,000. That would be hectic. Instead, what I do is I create a pivot table and it gives me a summary of that data, that if I want to know how much I made from all bags in the different regions where I own shops, this is the total. If I want to know how much I made from all books, that is the total. I'll try to create this pivot table again. Let me first remove it, then I go back to the basics. So what we did was, one, we have our data, select anywhere in that data, go to insert, say pivot table, then I'll say from table range. It automatically selects my table range because my data is clean. I'll say existing worksheet. I'll choose a location. I'll choose besides my table. I'll choose that location there. You can choose any other location. It can even be on a new worksheet. Then I'll say okay. It will give me this. There is no pivot table so far. So may I want a pivot table that summarizes. I want to see how much money I made from every region. I have a shop in the east. I have a shop in the west. I have a shop in the north. So I will choose region and money. So this is telling me from the central, from all the different items, you made 133,000 Ugandan shillings. From the east, I made 164. From the north, I made 130,000. From the west, I made that, and then it gives my grand total. And it gives me my grand total. So that is what they call a pivot table. They are used to summarize data. They are used to quickly calculate totals, averages, count. So they summarize our data. They also group our data. When we say grouping, what do I mean? So I'll come back to my data. So here I summarize data. I summarize what is happening in the center, in the east. But let me also try to group data. Let me first unselect these two. So I don't have a pivot table. Um, I want to see what is happening. I have a region. In that region, I want to see what are some of the categories being sold in every region. So I'll select region as well. The moment I select region, I get a small table which looks like this. So in the central, I am selling clothing, food, and stationery. If I visit the east, I am again selling clothing, food, and stationery. Same thing is happening in the north, and same thing is happening in the west. If these shops, if the people that were collecting data from these different shops had given me this data, and maybe they had said, the data is big, you won't be able to check it, and they decided not to put the information for food, I would still be able to know, because I just come and group my data and see what is happening in the central. You can even add there the quantities and see which in which particular region are they selling more clothing. So in the central, the clothing, the amount sold is 5. In the east, clothing sold is also 5. Now in the north, I can see the clothing sold is 3. I didn't have to go through here and see how much are they selling in the east in terms of clothing. I can see it from here that the clothing is 3. Then in the west, the clothing is 6. So I've grouped data, and now I'm trying to understand it. I can analyze it better. I can make a phone call and tell them, you know what, you people, you're not making me enough money. If I don't want to just see quantity, I can see sales. I just select. So it tells me that in the north, let's talk about food now. In the north, the amount of food sold altogether was 53,800. In the east, the amount of food sold there in total was 45,000. Here it was 42,000, and then here it was 63,000. So if I am to appreciate people for selling food, I would appreciate the ones that are working in my shop in the west. So those are what we call the pivot tables. What more can we do with the pivot tables? We can also filter with the pivot tables. Now, filtering with pivot tables is something very, very beautiful. It is more beautiful than what anyways, I don't know. But to me, I feel like filtering with pivot tables is more beautiful than what happens with the other tables. So let me say I want to filter. I don't want to see clothing. I want to create a pivot table something. So I'm creating my pivot table, but I don't want to see any item that is called clothing anywhere. Maybe it gives me tremors to see my clothing sales. So what I'll do is I'll come here. Clothing is a product. If I check my table here, oh no, clothing is a category. So clothing is a category. So what I'll do is I'll come here, I'll select category. People cannot see what I'm doing with my keyboard, but I'll select and drag this and put it under filters. So I selected I selected category, and I dragged it and I put it under filters. Now under filters, oh sorry, let me first leave it there. Let me first show you the simplest way to filter before you go to the bigger ways of filtering. Here it is giving me options of filtering according to region. What we can do is we can go to category. If I come here, category, it can now allow me to filter category. I have this button here. If I click on it, gives me transparency. And if you check your table now, everything about clothing is hidden. So it's giving a summary of only food and stationery and their totals. Food, stationery, totals. So we can also use pivot tables. You can do pretty much a lot with them.
Is it only me or everyone can't hear Enoch? It keeps on breaking.
Not not you alone. Even me here it is.
Enoch, we can't hear you well. I don't know if you can hear us, but currently you're even mute. I guess his
Hello.
internet is not good. Yeah, there we can hear you.
Hello.
Yes, hello. I think he has issues with his network. But if you have any question, any concern, please raise it as we wait for him to work on the internet. Please, if you have any question, if you've got any question,
How now?
Enoch, can you hear us? Is everyone good till to that stage? If you have any questions, please raise it. We have about 34 minutes to go. Please raise that question, that burning question. Remember, today is our last day to have training sessions. So you could use this opportunity to ask any question if you have it. Please stay online. We have an announcement to make. Stay tuned in to know which updates are coming up. So, but I can use this time. Can everyone hear me? Is everyone online? I only see James and
Yes, we are getting it.
okay, that is okay. So, starting tomorrow, the 13th, we shall be breaking out into teams. So, we have two teams. You can choose which one you can join in. But James and Rebecca, you have to go to different teams. So I guess you know the reason as to why. No, Becca, don't show me that face. Don't show me that face, please. So, but I guess you know the reason as to why. So, and I would like if you don't, if I don't have your email, please, this is the opportunity to share it. So we have two teams for the meta pairing. We have Team Excel Ninjas. Please get me right so that you choose the right team for yourself. So we have Team Excel Ninjas, which is sharp, focused, and ready to take on any formula challenge. Then we have Team Grid Gurus, organized, analytical, and masters of the spreadsheet universe. In these teams, this is like a way for us to collaborate, learn, and grow together. Trust me, whichever team you choose to join, don't feel intimidated. This is just a way for us to collaborate, learn, and grow together. So we have two teams. You can just type in the chat these team names. Don't worry. So you can just type in the chat which team you choose so that I know which team to invite you in on our Slack. We are going to use Slack channel. Please don't feel if you're not using Slack, please you should start. We don't have any WhatsApp groups unless you guys decide to collaborate and make one. But for now, our general communications are on Slack. So please, it is time to choose for yourself a team. Just type in the chat so I know which team you're in. I mean, the team for James. No way. No way. James, please choose a team for yourself so that Rebecca doesn't pop around going to that team. So please, guys,
Hello.
you can. Enoch, are you back? Please,
Yes,
guys.
I
eh,
am back.
okay.
Pardon? Oh,
No,
someone is
we
asking that I repeat.
could we have repeat of the pivot tables? Oh, we have about 30 minutes to go, but it's still on. So as we are doing that, I wanted to just make this announcement. Please choose your team so that we know which team to go. Please use these 30 minutes. Remember, when we go off the call, unless you just chat in Slack or send an email. Let James and Rebecca be the group leaders. Of course, they are. One is going to the other team, but I want them to choose for themselves. Let's make this fun and interesting. Choose whatever team you go to. We have, once again, we have Team Excel Ninjas and then we have Team Grid Glues. But we shall be doing a single presentation in video presentations. James, we having Excel Ninjas. That is team one. Actually, let me also type it here. We have team Excel Ninjas and team Grid Gurus. So please choose from those. Just put it in the chat so I know which team you've chosen. So James and Rebecca, one is going to the other one and another one is going to the other one. Please. I know you know the reason as why I'm doing that, but please, this is just a way for us to learn, network, and grow together. Thank you. As so I guess Enoch is back, so you could continue with the pivot tables. Peter, please choose your team. Don't worry, I don't
Um,
know why you are separating them. Please, they know the reasons as to why I'll be Excel Ninjas. Okay. I love Olivia so much. She wants always to not beat around the bush. So you can continue. But I won't tell you the reason, but they will tell you the reason. Because Darren already knows that. So please choose. Thank you. Enoch, you could continue, please.
Okay, then I'll continue. I saw someone saying that I am. I don't know for how long I was off. Unfortunately, I was using Wi-Fi and my current. I think it sort of went off, and I didn't notice. But let me just recap a bit. But I think what I done was not so hard. But I'll try to move back a bit. So what we have, how do you create a pivot table? Let me first delete the one that I have here already. Just curious, can everybody see my screen? What about now? So people can see my screen now. Okay. So let me first delete the pivot table that I had created already, and I'll try to be very fast and create it again. So one, we said when you're creating a pivot table, I want to think that people sort of saw the other kind of table, the basic one. Yes, I can see thumbs up. So people saw the other kind of table. So with a pivot table, just select anywhere within your work, come to insert. This ribbon will pop up. Select from table range. just click on pivot table, this drop down, then from table range, the table range will automatically be selected. I want my pivot table to be on the same page, so I'll select existing sheet. Then here it is telling me where on the existing sheet. I'll click on this button. It will allow me to select as a particular location from my worksheet. I'll select that there. Then I'll come and say, okay. The moment I say okay, it gives me a space where to put my pivot table and options to select from. Let's say I want this pivot table to be a summary of region and the cells in those pivot tables. I just come and select what I want to be in that pivot table. As simple as that. So that is all with pivot tables. So I want to know what was sold, how much money did I make from every region? Because if I look at this table, it has product, category, region, sales, and the quantity sold in every region. For example, a pen, 10 pens were sold in the East. To which category does a pen belong to? It belongs to the stationery. So what this pivot table does is that it summarizes everything that I want. That in the central, everything is sold together gives you 133,000. Maybe I don't just want to see the money made from the central, but I want to see the money made by each category. Maybe how much did I make from the stationaries? So here I can break that down a bit. I just come and select category. I can select category, so it will tell me in clothing you made that amount, in food you made that, in stationery you made that. Maybe I want to also see how many items of each of these were sold. So I'll just select quantity and it will tell me clothing, you sold 5 pieces of clothing, you sold this, and so on and so forth. So those are summaries. So I will continue. Um, uh, some of the other things we said we can do with pivot tables is we can group data. I think in what I've done, I've showed an example of grouping data. So grouping data, I grouped under central, I have clothing. So I have clothing, I have food, I have stationery, and this was grouped, it's all under central. Even if there is what was grouped there, and so on. So this is what they call grouping data. The other thing I can do with pivot tables is I can filter. Tables in Excel automatically give you that filter button. We saw how we can remove it with other kinds of tables. So here, if I want to filter, I just come to this button here, say, what do I want to filter? Maybe I want to filter categories. Which category do I want to see? I don't want to see food and stationery. Food and clothing, I only want to see stationery. So I'll say, okay. And in my tables, the magic will happen automatically. So I'll only see stationery and items and the amount of money made from that stationery. What else can I do with pivot tables? We've seen filtering, flexibility. I can drag and drop fields. That is something I was trying to show here. That every time I click here, a field is added. If I don't want to do this, I can just drag and drop it. For example, I want to add quantity. I can come here, I select quantity, then I drag and drop it there. The moment I drop it there, it is added onto my pivot table. That is what they call flexibility. Then dynamic. What is the beauty? What is the most beautiful thing about pivot tables that we will not find with structured tables? Pivot tables automatically update my data. So this is where that automation with Excel comes in from. You have 10 shops. They are always changing data. So when this data is changed, you can automatically see that data. For example, if you have a very good screen that side and you want to see what is happening, let's say I want to edit something. Let me edit something from the east. I have pens, and we've said all of these pens they belong to stationery. Let me try to change the price here. Let me say this is now 1,500. If you look at stationery, currently it is 36,400. from all items that were sold. But the moment I change this, I make this 1,500 and enter. Which one? This was, oh, I changed something from the east. Let, let's do that again. Let's focus on east. What I changed was in the east. So here is our east. It is 27,900. 27,900. So I'll come to a pen being sold in a stationery in the east. If I change this money to 1,500 and I enter, okay, it is not automatically reflecting that I don't. So I come here and I don't know why it is not reflecting automatically, but it is supposed to reflect automatically. I'll go back to my pivot table. So it's here. It is supposed to reflect automatically. It brings about, there is automation with pivot tables that I change something, something is supposed to happen. I don't know whether I'm not doing it the right way, but we would see the magic. Let me delete it, and anyways, let me not delete it for factors of time, but you can try it out there and you'll see things updating automatically. So that is all about pivot tables. That is most of it. Pivot tables allow us to do more other things. We can create what they call pivot charts with pivot tables. Let's say I have this pivot table here. Under insert, you have what they call a pivot chart. A pivot chart can also be used to summarize data more and more. So as us to talk about tables, so I'll stick tables, but you can go and try out more of these things here. The other type of tables that exists in Excel is what we call a data table. This one is something that you don't discuss when you're doing Excel basically in the basic levels. But another table that it is our TIF analysis table. You say, I want to know when I sell my pens at 1,500, what kind of profits am I supposed to make? And it updates that automatically and so on and so forth. So that is all about tables. That is all about tables. I noticed earlier when I was being slow, some people had skipped or had stopped. I don't know where people stopped paying attention or seeing what I was, but I'll give people the opportunity to ask any questions if they have before we fully end.
If you have any question, please, the floor is open. Any questions so far? Is everyone okay? Oh, you're still thinking about the teams. Please, if you have any question, this is the time to ask. Remember, today is our last training session. From tomorrow, we are starting on the project assignment. Please ask any question. Feel free. The floor is open. Enoch, have we officially ended before we continue? Before
For
we continue.
tables, for tables, I've officially ended here.
Okay. So if you have any question, Peter, are you okay? You had requested to repeat the pivot table. So are you okay? Did you really understand it? It's okay. So I'm still making this announcement. So far, just for you to know your teammates, for Team Excel Ninjas, we have it, James Olio. Am I pronouncing your name right, James? Okay. Then we have Ataksaside, Darin. We have Olivia Baluka, then Moses Ochan, and then Joan Sanyo. For Team Excel Ninjas. Then for Team Great Gurus, huh? The master of that spreadsheet universe. we having Rebecca, then Doreen, Peter, then Peter, and then we have Doreen. Who else am I missing? We had Gladys on the call, but I think she has gone. She's also team Great Gulus. So if I haven't mentioned your name and you're on the call, please verify before we end the call. I'm trying to sort this up. Please accept the invitations. Please make sure to accept the invitation so that you're not left out. So, Ochan, I've added you. Need to inquire, is there a possibility to get these things we study afterwards in case of any emergency? Yes, please check your Slack. There is a channel which is data analysis and management with Microsoft Excel 2, Cohort 2. That is where we normally post the resources that we have used. There is videos, then the data sets we can use. So if you want to do any reference, please check out that channel. Any other question? Add me too. So Yasin, you joined the class late, but we're doing breakout teams starting tomorrow. This is the last day of our training session. So starting tomorrow, we are going to do project. So please accept. I have noticed Yasin, you already accepted the invite, but I don't know which team you want to go to. We have team Excel Ninjas, but there we already have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm sending you to team Gulu, Great Gulus. Those are the masters of the spreadsheet universe. So please accept the invite so that you don't miss out. We shall be sharing the project assignment document on your email. Look out for that email. Please always check your spam, but I don't think they could spam our emails, so you could check your spam, check your updates so that you don't miss out anything. For our mentors, they are going to be available in each team. You can reach out to them. Enoch, I'm giving this chance so that you could share your social handles. He has been our mentor from week 1. I got feedback that you were really interesting. The sessions were really good. So you could share your email and your social handles so that these people, in case of anything, they know where to find you. Please once again introduce yourself. Tell us where you're from. I know you, but they might have missed that. So please share it again. Get the chance to share it again to them. And
Um,
then
uh,
and then we are going to everyone will have to say their name and where they're joining from. Please, I'm doing this because today is our last training session. We are going to have a check-in call next week on Wednesday to see the progress and a review. So please use this chance to even sell your business. We still have a lot of time. You could be selling something and your next customer could be on this call. So please use this chance, say what you do, and we get to know each other. So Enoch, hand over to you.
thank you so much once again. So my name is Kalule Enoch Samuel. Kalule Enoch Samuel. I'm a graduate of. I graduated from Chambogo University. I did mechatronics engineering. So I'm a mechatronics engineer by profession. I'm a technical personnel somewhere. I currently help in. I what I usually do is I help out in running some family business. That is what I do. So that I have expertise. I have a basic certificate in Excel. And when I saw the brochure out there where QC was looking for people to mentor in Excel, I saw a very beautiful opportunity to come and share my knowledge with people. So basically, that is me. That is me. My name is Kalule Samuel. I put my email and other details in the messages. My email is kalenosamuel@gmail.com, and my WhatsApp is there as well.
Okay, thank you so much, Enoch. Who is going next? Do I need to introduce myself once again? Really? Only James is interested. Others know me, I guess. So, by names, I'm Fiona Fridaus Nangovi, and I'm the co-founder of Queen's Coding Initiative, and I'm a Women Tech Makers Ambassador, a program run by Google. I'm a web developer by profession. I did information technology. So I'm also a tech advocate. That is why you see me running up and down, organizing these trainings. I have a team, so don't think I'm alone. I'm really excited that we are on day 7 of this program. It has really been exciting for me. I've got to learn a lot of stuff. I have a certificate in Excel, basic Excel. So what else am I forgetting? You can reach me on LinkedIn by the names Fiona Fridaus Nangovi. You can reach me on Twitter with the same names. You can also follow our pages at Queen's Coding Initiative so that you don't miss out any update. We have a lot in store. So to make another announcement, just this is a tip. Whoever does the project assignment and submits it in, they will receive a certificate. So make sure you do your project assignment and you send it to us so that you don't miss that certificate. Who is coming next? Kindly type the LinkedIn names, okay, for the Queen's Coding Initiative or my names. Banange, who is going on next? Let's use this opportunity to sell our business, to talk about ourselves. Please, guys, please just say out your name and what you're doing. We have about how many minutes to go? Rebecca, I need to hear your voice. Do we have a website for what? For Queen's Coding Initiative? Oh, Ibrahim, your question. So who is going next? As we are waiting for Ibrahim to rectify that. For Queens, the Queens Initiative Coding Initiative is under development. The website is under development. Please stay tuned. You will see when it is out. And personally, I'm the one developing it. But Rebecca, your background is always bad. You guy, you woman. Should I say girl or what? So that is okay. That is okay, Rebecca. James, also you, your background is bad. James?
Yes, please. I'm here.
Okay.
Can you hear me? Yeah, I'm also near someone who is making calls. So, but I believe you can be able to hear me. Can you hear me well? Okay. For those ones, for those who don't know me, I'm called James Olio. For me, I'm a mechanical engineer by profession. And as you see, my background is that word GPS. So I work as a GPS officer in one of the companies here in Kampala, and I'm transitioning soon to data analysis. That's brief about me. I stay within Kampala, and that's where I'm training from. Nice to meet you all.
Nice to meet you too, James. We have about 6 minutes to go. I have who on the call? I have Moses. I haven't heard your voice. Doreen, please, a little bit about yourself. Then Rebecca, and then Ibrahim. Darren, also you please introduce yourself. But Rebecca has said that she has a bad background. So I have Moses, Darren, Doreen, and Ibrahim. Please just say your name and where you're joining from.
So
James,
let me
please.
go.
Let Rebecca talk. The issue of background, she shall manage.
Rebecca. James Olio has officially given you out. So please, but Darren was going in next. Please, let's do this quick. We have about 5 minutes. Please, guys, let's use this opportunity to introduce ourselves. So who is going next? Darren, you were saying you're going next.
Yeah, good evening, guys. My name is Atsase Darren Caird. I'm a computer science graduate.
You,
Hello.
James, this is really bad.
Can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Yeah, I was saying I'm a computer science graduate with a certificate in website development and design plus networking.
Where you're joining in from?
I'm in Vuziga.
Okay, nice to meet you, Rebecca. You're going in next. Then we have Doreen, Moses, and Ibrahim. We have about 4 minutes to go.
Hi guys, I hope you're doing well. Yeah, I'm Rebecca Bonyo. I don't know, like our team that given you a very funny name, but I'm going to be like interacting with I guess most of like the genders, which is majorly men. It's going to be an interesting one, guys. Our team, let's just hopefully we're going to do well, and we're going to submit things in advance. But of course, like basically me, I'd been a data clerk quite for some time, like around 2 to 3 years, in an NGO, and then finally I just landed on what a job of a data analyst. Yeah, working with James. That's why you see him overworking my body also this side. Thank you so much, guys.
So we have, thank you so much, Rebecca. Guys, nice to meet you all. So we have Doreen and Ibrahim and Moses on the call. Please, we have about 3 minutes. Any one of you could join in the call. Just say who you are and where you're joining from. Guys, yes, let's use these 3 minutes. I'm truly excited today. You could hear it from my voice. Today is the last day of the training session. Woohoo! You never know. Did I tell you guys Queen's Coding Initiative is in Ginger? Did I tell you that? So, guys, you're meeting us from Ginger. Sir Doreen, Ibrahim, Moses, are you there? Who is going in next? We have about 2 minutes to go. Okay, Moses, go next.
Yes, hello. This is Moses Ochan. I want to first appreciate the founder. Thank you so much. I'm calling in from Kampala Central. Thank you so much.
Thank you too. We are really excited. I'm super excited to have you guys on this training. It was nice working with you. So Ibrahim says, I'm Ibrahim Saleh, an IT manager, Igang School of Nursing and Midwifery located in Iganga. Please, I basically have a lot of ideas about IT. Please feel free to ask in networking, etc. So Darren, you have someone there doing networking. Actually, we had a team joining in from Egang School of Nursing, where the Sanyu Joan that you see, she's a student at Egang School of Nursing. So we have that team joining. So who else? We have Doreen. Doreen, please just tell us who you are. We have about 1 minute to go. Once again, thank you guys for joining in from day one to day seven. Is it day seven, day eight of our training? It has really been inspiring. Number one fan of Queen's Coding. Thank you so much. We are really to always have you on board. Ibrahim Saleh, it is always exciting working with you. My team, we might use WhatsApp if all goes well. It is okay. Feel free, guys, to reach out. It is open. Work on the project assignments. Let's work together. I really emphasize teamwork. James, what do you want to say? We have a few seconds, run. Just so what you have to. Please.
Okay, thank you for the chance. I just wanted to confirm with my team members because I have now we are 5 in our team. I also wanted to confirm if everyone has got a team, or some people are still left out, so that we tomorrow we arrange. You might also use WhatsApp for our communications because I feel it's convenient. Can run them at the same time as I'm doing my work. Because Slack is my personal laptop, yet here at work I rarely carry it. I rarely carry it here. It stays at home. So I want to thank everyone who joined my team. Trust me, we shall hit this. Feel free to
Uh,
ask. And for business purposes, as you saw, GPS, I have a very good knowledge in GPS tracking. If you want to track your motor vehicle, you want to track your motorcycle, anything you want to track, you can put a tracking device. Just tap me. Any part of the country, I'll deliver your services, quality services. Thank you. Have a great
okay.
evening.
Thank you to guys. We come to the end of this session. See you guys next week on Wednesday. Look out for an email giving you an update of the project assignment and any communications. Use slang. See you. Have a good night.